So here's a video, a quick tutorial about how to do a self hookup. Once you've done it once, twice, it's going to become really easy. First time round, it might feel a little bit perplexing, but you'll get used to it really soon. So this is the Z amp, and what I'm going to do is, well, the way I found it easiest is just to hook it to an item of clothing here at the front. So you will see at the front here there are two letters. These are the wires connected to the sensors. Here we go. And you will see they are arranged in a set of 3 and a 2, and they're labelled with an L and an R. So L being left, right is for with the R. So I'm just going to get these around the right way. So these are the left side ones, and it's a blue and a yellow. So left meaning your left. So the blue one goes at the top of the ear, and the yellow one goes on to the scalp. And I'm going to show you the placement in a minute. There are 2 ways to kind of gauge it, and there is tolerance with this system, so as long as you get it in the rough area, you're going to be fine. No need to worry. It just needs to pick up a signal from the approximate area on the scalp. So with your rental, you're going to get either one of these or a tub. Same. This is the conductive paste. It's the only one recommended by the system, so I will always supply you with this brand. It's water-based rather than oil-based, so it does wash off really easily. It kind of leaves a sticky residue, but you can wipe it off really easily with a wet wipe. Or if it happens to get tangled in your hair, it comes off super easy when you just wash it. Right, I'll start with the ear ones first. I'm going to open the tube. Actually, what I'm going to do is show you, because I've got long hair, I'm actually quite a good example. I tend to tie my hair back because for me, it means that I get paste in the correct place and not stuck in my hair. So I'm going to tie my hair back just for the minute. Not too tight, because then I've got leeway to get to the place on the scalp. I also have multiple earrings, which is also a good example, because if you don't have full leeway on your ear, I can show you what to do. So this first one, this is a brand new tube, so it's really a bit hard. Needs a bit of warming up. Okay, so they call this the ice cream scoop. So it's basically a little rounded blob of paste on your sensor, on both sensors, so that when they end up making contact with either your earlobe or your scalp, as it presses down, they'll just have a little bit around the edge of the sensor. You know then that the sensor is in contact with the paste, which is in contact with your skin, and that means that the electrical conductivity will be picked up by essentially receivers. Okay, let me see. See if we can see that. Scoop. See? It doesn't have to be perfect each side, but it's basically a blob. And then I get my ear here. I make contact there. This is left side. There's only 2 on this side. Second one, the yellow one, which is going to go on the scalp. So here, same. Here, there are 2 ways to do it. So top of the ear, this is what I do. Thumb here, and then I put my middle finger at the centre of my scalp. So if I were to draw a line up here, I'm slightly off centre parting, so I'm going to put it there and there. Then I get my index finger here and I kind of rest it somewhere in the middle. Now, if you want to just experiment with this, so if you run your finger down a little bit, you see most of us have a bump either side here on, I guess, the cranium. So you've got a little bump, and then it kind of, I found it quite hard to identify initially, but you've got a little hard bit of the skull here, and then kind of comes over the top into a dip. They call it a dip. On my head, it doesn't quite feel like a dip, but it's just above the hard bump, and that coincides with thumb here, index, middle finger here, then index finger here. So that is where I would put the paste, and then I split the hair. I find a little bit of scalp, and then I stick it down. Except for I have really long hair, so I'm going to show you what I do. If you have short hair, that actually makes it easier. What I tend to do is tie my hair up. So the other way of identifying it, if you're not going to use the finger one, is that we all tend to have this widow's peak, this part where the scalp, the hairline goes back. And what I do is I get the nail of my little finger and I just scrape it back, and then I do this. And then I do the same the other side, from here. So I'm using the the video here as a mirror. So that's what I do, because for me it then just means it's less likely to get really stuck. So I tie this back, and and then I tie this one back. But I actually don't have a second hairband. But that's how I do it, because I've got really long hair, and that means it's less likely to get really stuck in my hair. That's my preference. So, and then if you do the finger exercise again, one finger there, one finger there, one finger there, just above the bump, it kind of coincides with the same place. So I prefer looking at the widow's peak bit and doing a straight line back, and then I just plop the sensor down there on the scalp. You'll feel it because it kind of is, it feels a bit cool on the scalp. And so I kind of line that up with the top of my ear. That's where it lands. And the same with the next side. So, R, right side, 3 wires. So this has got an extra wire, and the black one is the earth wire. So that goes much more down towards the lobe. So if you have earrings like me, fine, no problem. Just make sure that the paste and the electrodes aren't touching the metal. So again, here, one down there. Blue one, top again, same on both sides. Side, side, blob, blob, here. Okay, separated, not touching. They could be closer together, it's not an exact science. I've seen some people put the black one kind of more here. Doesn't matter, just make sure they don't touch. And then, last one, yellow one, onto the scalp. Again, I've made it easier, but say you've got short hair and you haven't done what I've done. Thumb to the top of the ear, middle finger to the center line of the head, and then reach your thumb here. And you'll find that there's the bump, and that's where I split the hair by just taking the line straight back from that widow's peak and stick it on like this, there. So that's it really. And then at the end, obviously going to take it off, but just before here, that's where the USB bit goes. That's what I do. I tend to put this on in front of a mirror. Then I go and sit down to where the system is. I plug in the USB, which I already have connected to the tablet. Then I get my earphones, either in-ear or the ones over the top of the head. And then I just press play. So all good. And then just a tip, again, if you have hair or long hair, to get it off, this is what I tend to do. I tend to kind of stretch the hair either side, make sure it's flat, and then I get this. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. And then what I find is that the paste comes off stuck to the sensor, doesn't remain in the hair. What happens if you just yank it off too quickly is basically you'll find that you'll end up with a blob here and the sensor off, and then it's a whole lot more difficult. If that does happen, by the way, and it has happened to me, what I do, and I find this, it works nicely, if I ended up with a blob here and the sensor came off, I tend to stick the sensor back onto the blob, press it down, and again, wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, 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 and then it just tends to come off again. So there we go. Happy training.